Welcome to my humble abode of historical inquiry, where the tales of yesteryear come alive in vivid detail. I am Herodotus, your guide through the annals of time, and today we embark on a fascinating journey to explore one of the most pivotal naval battles in history, the Battle of Trafalgar. This epic clash of ships and men has captivated the imagination of scholars and enthusiasts alike for centuries, and as we delve into its earliest history, you shall discover the intricate web of events that led to this momentous occasion. As we set the stage for our narrative, let us transport ourselves to the late 18th century, a time of great upheaval in Europe. The French Revolution, with its clarion call for liberty, equality, and fraternity, had sent shockwaves throughout the continent, reshaping the political landscape and setting the stage for a series of conflicts that would engulf the nations of Europe. It was against this backdrop that Napoleon Bonaparte, with his unyielding ambition and military prowess, rose to prominence, leaving an indelible mark on the course of history. In the early 19th century, we find ourselves in the midst of a high-stakes game of cat and mouse between the British Navy, under the command of the indefatigable Admiral Horatio Nelson, and the French fleet, led by the cunning Admiral Villeneuve. The year was 1803, and Napoleon's plans for naval expansion were being thwarted by the British presence in the Mediterranean. Meanwhile, Villeneuve's fleet was trapped in the port of Toulon, unable to break through the British blockade. The events that led up to the Battle of Trafalgar began to unfold on April 30th, 1805, when Villeneuve's fleet made a daring escape from Toulon and set sail towards the Mediterranean. Nelson, who had been tracking Villeneuve's movements with unwavering dedication, set sail from Gibraltar in pursuit, determined to intercept the French fleet. As we follow the path of these two commanders, we find their ships navigating through the narrow straits of Gibraltar, passing by the ancient fortress of Tarifa, where the Moors once ruled over the Iberian Peninsula. The delicate dance of diplomacy also played a significant role in setting the stage for Trafalgar. Napoleon's attempt to persuade Spain to join him in his war against Britain ultimately led to the signing of the Treaty of San Ildefonso on October 1st, 1800, which formed an alliance between France and Spain. This treaty committed Spain to providing naval support to France, drawing its fleet into the conflict. The British, aware of this alliance, were keenly attuned to the movements of the Spanish fleet, knowing that their enemy's strength was growing by the day. As we explore the historical context of this period, we find that the British Navy was not only blockading French ports, but also engaging in a series of skirmishes with French and Spanish ships. The British victory at the Battle of Cape St. Vincent in 1797 had given them control of the Mediterranean, and they were determined to maintain their dominance. The year 1805 was shaping up to be a critical one for Napoleon's plans, as his army prepared to invade Britain, and he needed a strong naval presence to support his troops. The escape of Villeneuve's fleet from Toulon was a significant blow to the British, and Nelson knew that he had to act quickly to prevent the French from gaining control of the seas. And so, dear listeners, we have arrived at the threshold of this pivotal moment in history. The events that led up to the Battle of Trafalgar have been set in motion, and the outcome is far from certain. Join me next, as we plunge into the heart of this epic struggle, where heroism and tragedy entwine like the threads of a rich tapestry, and the fate of empires hangs in the balance, as we explore the primary events that would decide the course of history. Welcome back to our journey through the annals of time, as we delve into the pivotal moments of the Battle of Trafalgar. In our previous exploration, we set the stage for this epic clash, tracing the intricate web of events that led to the confrontation between the British Navy, under the command of Admiral Horatio Nelson, and the combined French and Spanish fleet, led by Admiral Villeneuve. As we now find ourselves on the cusp of this momentous occasion, let us transport ourselves to the autumn of 1805, when the fate of empires hung precariously in the balance. The British Navy, with its superior training and tactical prowess, had been tracking the movements of the French and Spanish fleet, awaiting the perfect moment to strike. Meanwhile, Villeneuve's fleet, bolstered by the addition of Spanish ships, had set sail from the port of Cadiz, intent on breaking through the British blockade and paving the way for Napoleon's invasion of Britain. On October 19, 1805, the stage was finally set for the Battle of Trafalgar. The British fleet, consisting of 27 ships of the line, had been stationed off the coast of Cape Trafalgar, a rocky outcropping on the southwestern tip of Spain. Nelson's flagship, the HMS Victory, stood at the forefront of the British line, its guns at the ready. As the French and Spanish fleet, comprising 33 ships of the line, came into view, Nelson issued his now famous signal: "England expects that every man will do his duty." The battle that ensued was a testament to the bravery and tactical genius of Admiral Nelson. The British ships, sailing in two columns, broke through the French and Spanish line, engaging the enemy in a fierce and intense melee. The HMS Victory, with Nelson at its helm, led the charge, exchanging broadsides with the French flagship, the Bucentaur. As the battle raged on, the British ships began to gain the upper hand, their superior gunnery and training telling against the outnumbered but still formidable French and Spanish fleet. One of the most pivotal moments in the battle came when the HMS Royal Sovereign, under the command of Captain Edward Rotherham, broke through the enemy line, followed closely by the HMS Belleisle and the HMS Temeraire. This bold maneuver allowed the British to attack the French and Spanish ships from both sides, exploiting the weaknesses in their formation and ultimately leading to their defeat. As the day wore on, the French and Spanish fleet began to falter, their ships battered and bruised by the relentless British onslaught. The Bucentaur, Villeneuve's flagship, was captured by the British, its crew forced to surrender. The Redoutable, another French ship, engaged the HMS Victory in a fierce duel, but ultimately succumbed to the superior firepower of the British. The Battle of Trafalgar was a crushing victory for the British, with 19 French and Spanish ships captured or sunk, and over 3,000 enemy sailors killed or wounded. The British, on the other hand, suffered relatively light casualties, with 1,500 men killed or wounded. Admiral Nelson, however, was not among the survivors, having been fatally wounded by a sniper's bullet during the battle. As we reflect on the significance of this epic struggle, it becomes clear that the Battle of Trafalgar marked a turning point in the Napoleonic Wars, securing British supremacy over the seas and thwarting Napoleon's plans for invasion. The bravery and tactical genius of Admiral Nelson have become legendary, inspiring generations of sailors and historians alike. And so, dear listeners, we have reached the culmination of this pivotal moment in history, where heroism and tragedy entwined like the threads of a rich tapestry. Join me next as we explore the aftermath of the Battle of Trafalgar and examine the far-reaching consequences of this epic struggle on the course of European history. Welcome back to our journey through the annals of time, as we delve into the aftermath of the Battle of Trafalgar. The year 1805 was a pivotal moment in European history, and the consequences of this epic struggle would be far-reaching and profound. As the news of the British victory spread, it sent shockwaves throughout Europe. But Napoleon's plans for invasion were thwarted, and his naval ambitions were dealt a crushing blow. The French and Spanish fleets, once the masters of the seas, were now severely depleted, with 19 ships captured or sunk, and over 3,000 sailors killed or wounded. The British, on the other hand, had secured their supremacy over the seas, and their dominance would remain unchallenged for centuries to come. The bravery and tactical genius of Admiral Nelson had inspired a nation, and his legacy would live on as one of the greatest naval heroes in history. In the immediate aftermath of the battle, the British fleet, under the command of Vice Admiral Cuthbert Collingwood, set about securing the captured French and Spanish ships and tending to the wounded. The HMS Victory, Nelson's flagship, was badly damaged, but it had played a pivotal role in the battle, and its crew was hailed as heroes. As the days passed, the British fleet sailed back to Gibraltar, where they were greeted with cheers and accolades. The news of the victory was sent back to Britain, where it was met with widespread celebration. King George III, who had been following the events of the battle closely, was overjoyed by the news, and he immediately dispatched a message of congratulations to the British fleet. The Battle of Trafalgar also had significant consequences for the Napoleonic Wars. With his naval ambitions thwarted, Napoleon was forced to focus on land-based campaigns, which would ultimately lead to his downfall. The battle marked a turning point in the war, as the British and their allies began to gain the upper hand against the French. In the years that followed, the British Navy continued to play a dominant role in European affairs, and its legacy would shape the course of history for centuries to come. The Battle of Trafalgar had secured Britain's position as a major world power, and it would remain so until the mid-20th century. As we reflect on the significance of this epic struggle, it becomes clear that the Battle of Trafalgar was more than just a naval battle. It was a clash of empires, a test of strength and willpower, and a defining moment in European history. The bravery and sacrifice of the sailors who fought in the battle would never be forgotten, and their legacy would continue to inspire generations to come. In the words of Admiral Nelson, "Thank God I have done my duty." His duty was to defend his country, and he did so with honor and distinction. As we conclude our journey through the annals of time, we are reminded that the Battle of Trafalgar was a testament to the power of courage, determination, and sacrifice, and its legacy will continue to inspire us for generations to come. As the great historian Thomas Carlyle once said, "The Battle of Trafalgar is one of those events which shaped the destiny of nations." Indeed, it was a pivotal moment in history, and its consequences would be felt for centuries to come. Join me next time as we explore more fascinating stories from the annals of time and discover how the past continues to shape our world today. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.